Welcome to Next Level Play Podcast, your source
for all things gaming
and eSports
and Web3 and pop culture
and anime,
movies and TV.
And, yeah, what's your name?
Sydney. What's your name?
Marcus. Nice to meet you. You've probably met us before.
Welcome back.
This is the Next Level Play Podcast, where we make bold predictions about the future.
We make real hot takes about current events or the past.
And we have some exciting guests.
Yeah, today we're going to have Rob Whitehorn III back on to talk anime, to talk conventions, to talk all the things shonen. Very exciting. Stick around for that.
Because your source
for all things gaming
is right here.
Is right now.
Next Level Play.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Sydney's mom.
She's probably not watching. I don't think she knows how to sign up for
Absolutely
ESR.
not.
She has no idea.
No, my parents don't know what the hell I'm doing with my life.
She even sees me on Instagram and she's like, "You look so pretty," and I'm like, "Thanks, Mom."
What are you talking about?
Yeah, is this a show?
Is this one of those Pokemon things?
Is this a video game? Mm-hmm. My mom sees me on Instagram and says, "Is this a video game?" That's truly how tuned in she is. Mm-hmm. How are you, dude?
I'm doing great, actually.
Yeah?
I'm chill.
Oh.
That's going to change. Don't worry.
Yeah, having his caffeine.
Daddy's got his juice.
Daddy needs his mud. So in the last episode, we went hog wild about Hogwarts.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew that's how you were finishing it.
Did you know I was gonna say
as soon as she said hog wild.
We talked a lot about a potential Harry Potter series, and I want to bring up another potential series on the horizon that I have high hopes for after the positivity of, well, the
relative positivity.
The relative positivity. I'll outright
best they could
say
hope
it.
for, honestly.
I'll outright say it. Avatar, The Last Airbender, not the other Avatar, but Avatar series. They're thinking of doing it, obviously more aligned with Korra, and sort of the future where they now view the Avatar as a destroyer rather than bringing all of the elements together to save the world, because it's post everything that's happened before. So to me, the description already really does sound, I think I joked about it before, I definitely have, the gritty CW remake of like post Avatar world where we hate the Avatar now.
Wait, is that okay? And forgive me, because you're the expert on this topic, because more than I when I was a kid, when the original series came out, I watched the first book.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. So I've been following.
You only watched Air?
I've been following, especially in pop culture, the popularity. I've always been a contrarian little piece of shit. So I wasn't super into Avatar when it came out, or it's kind of cult following. I'm thinking of the Avatar as a cute little Aang, like genuine and earnest, and like super. Does he become like the god of destruction at the end? Like, what the fuck happens?
So no, the series itself, no. But then the Legend of Korra came out, which followed Korra.
Yeah.
And then
I thought it followed. Sorry.
Shut up. But Aang wasn't a part of that. Like he was separate from that. And then this series, supposedly, this would even be post Korra. So this is something that we don't know about yet. But it's a future where the people view the Avatar as a destroyer, which in my mind is sort of like, it's an interesting take, because it's future civilizations looking at the past, which I assume are like the ruins of different cities, and the writings of these different clans and elements that were once separated, then came together, then separated again.
And history is written by the victors, so maybe some anti-Avatar faction
Fire
took over.
Nation,
burned a bunch of books.
Yeah, there you go. So it's sort of an interesting viewpoint. I'm curious what it's going to be like. Also, if the Avatar is not the main protagonist, or maybe the future Avatar will be the main protagonist, but they don't know who it is yet.
So is the Avatar? I'm sorry for asking so many questions. I feel like watching a movie with my mom. But is the Avatar immortal? Like it's not the same Avatar, is it?
No, it's a different Avatar that's transferred. So the way the Avatar, in my knowledge of, which I'm
sorry to put you on the spot.
Could be wrong.
Yeah.
But the way the Avatar works is that there is a new Avatar.
Okay.
Because if we remember from the series and from the television series, which the Avatar can sort of mind link and go and meditate and see all the past avatars and learn from them. And that was sort of the thing with the series. They made it pretty like a highway to the avatar talking to the other avatars. In the animated series, it's really not like that. It's more dreamlike.
I read the book version of Avatar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it went by a different title. The New Testament.
Shut up. Shut up.
Go on, I'm listening.
I mean, it is kind of biblical. Like
obviously,
and it's like more like Buddhism, you know, with the meditation and stuff.
Christ imagery is in so many films that are amazing. I'm not shitting on that.
The arrow is so close to being a cross.
Green Mile is one of my favorite movies, and the character's name is literally JC, John Coffey. It's so fucking on the nose.
The plague coming out of his mouth or whatever.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
But yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He has the locust comes out of his mouth.
Well, I knew that part.
The two prisoners on each side of him, one is like actually good, one of them is pure evil.
To JC because I, of course, did it with John Connor.
Taking out the big hammer.
And that's another one.
Hitting us.
You know what? Fuck you. I just realized that. I never knew that.
Wait, from what?
John Connor, Terminator, JC. I never made that connection.
Is he meant to be Jesus?
He's the savior of humanity.
But they say savior. So
Yeah.
don't say that.
What about?
I mean, that's Green Mile. It's like the whole movie is religious imagery.
John Carpenter's mom.
Connor.
I said Carpenter because Jesus is a carpenter.
I mean, hey.
John Connor's
Great director.
John Connor's mom, Sarah. She was first though, and her name means nothing.
Well, her conception was immaculate. It was a man from the future that came and impregnated her, and now it's all coming together. Now it's all coming together.
You guys are too much. The biblical references aside, I am curious because I think in the series traditionally it's sort of like Aang happened to be the avatar at that time. But he will age. He's not immortal. Like he does grow up and then he'll die, but the avatar will be passed on to somebody else. So this begs the question, what was going on in that time period leading up to it? What
I actually
were you
played
say?
that video game.
What video game?
It went by a different title though. The Legend of Zelda.
I'm gonna punch you. If I could kick you under the table, I would, but I can't. There's something blocking my legs. But yeah, I don't know. I think also this new series, I don't know if it's live action.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's animated. I mean, if it's animated, are you back in? Would you check it out? Or
I feel like I still have the original series to watch, first and foremost. But
are you ever going to do it? Be honest.
If I'm incentivized to do so.
If you have like the flu for 2 weeks or something, maybe.
Yeah, or like if someone's like, hey, you're going to have to talk about Avatar, we'll pay you.
Looks like we gotta get on it.
No,
Avatar episode.
I've heard such great things, and what I really like to do when I'm like, especially when I'm bored, is go back and I'm like, oh, I'm out of rabbit holes, is find a classic.
Yeah.
And especially if it's usually movies, but if I have like a stretch of time, it's a show. And genuinely, Avatar: The Last Airbender is on that list of shows.
I'm saying we're moving towards retro, and you're so into that. You love the classics.
That's the scary thing, though. It's like I remember when Avatar came out, and the fact that it's retro television at this point is kind of mind-blowing.
I know.
The test of time, it's something I talk about a lot. I think it's a great test, and clearly it's passed it.
The test of time. I think it's a great test.
Yeah. And then, hey, if I'm really into the series and then into the other series. But we were talking, you're not sure if it's live action, neither am I. I could do my research, but
yeah,
I do want to talk about the live action adaptation now that we're kind of a year out of it.
We should touch on the show now.
Right.
And the success or lack thereof.
I mean, I feel, again, and I said it at the time, it was kind of the best response they could have hoped for because it was a very uphill battle after the Shyamalan adaptation and such a beloved franchise. And honestly, I heard mixed to positive reviews of it, which honestly I think is the best. Yeah, they could have made a masterpiece and had all. It's possible, but honestly, I kind of thought it was going to fall flat on its face. So
I watched all of it for research purposes.
Does it cover the whole show, or?
Yeah, in a very speedy way. Because that's the thing. The show also, like obviously you can take your time with more characters.
Mm-hmm.
You get to know the nation, like the different nations more. Mm-hmm. Because in the show they travel to a lot more village. Like many more characters are seen.
Yeah.
But they hit the big ones on the live adaptation. The thing that they really sped up is sort of Aang's growth, because it's a coming-of-age story about Aang, a kid who basically gets thrust into the Avatar position and has to grow up really fast and make these big decisions, and he's like 12.
Right.
And there's no good way to do that meaningfully in such a short amount of time. So they sort of, with the meditation to the other avatars, in the animated show, it was much more complicated. Like, he couldn't just talk to them. He was really struggling. He was like, I need your help. And like, they wouldn't be there for him. In the live action show, he would just like meditate for like 5 seconds and then he would basically astral project, leave his body, and then like walk over to an avatar and be like, what am I supposed to do?
Sure.
And they would give him advice.
I'm almost impressed by the restraint of the. It's a double-edged sword because I think they're hedging their bets more than anything, where they decided to truncate the show and kind of speed things along. Because most, we were talking about Harry Potter yesterday. It's like, oh, they're going to stretch that 7th movie into 2. They're going to milk this puppy as long as they can.
Yeah, and we've talked about this too. Like, ending a show after 10 episodes or whatever can be fine.
Oh, and I'm a miniseries guy because I like a beginning,
8
middle, and an
episodes.
end. No, I mean, but again, for story structure, call me old school, but like my problem with television, I prefer movies over television because there's a vision that is completed. With TV, it's all about, oh, we got to get renewed for another season. So it's TV is an exercise in writing for a story that can never end. And it's always something else and always something else. And there's never a satisfying conclusion. Whereas miniseries is the same as movie. You have beginning, middle, and end, and that's... I'm sorry, it's tried and true for a reason. But anyway, I'm impressed by the restraint and also curious why they didn't just go, book 1 as like a season 1 and kind of expand it.
Yeah.
And now I feel like they're almost, maybe they weren't predicting a big success because they're caught off guard and now they're like, oh, fuck,
well, now we got to come up with
now
another
we got
one.
to do Legend of Korra. And that's all assuming this is the same kind of creators as the original.
I'm curious if it, we'll have to wait for new information to come out. My only fear is because it's the future now and it's post Korra.
Oh, because they're not adapting Legend of Korra. They're just skipping ahead. Interesting.
This is after that.
So this is totally original.
Totally original.
Story. Okay.
I'm fearful that they're gonna go like too future and do like steampunk. Like it's just gonna
everything's covered in chrome.
No, not even. Just like everything's like brass. They're gonna go like full steampunk because that's sort of the vibe of some of the inventions and tinkering and stuff, which is fun mixed with the magical elements. But I'm afraid they're going to be like, and we've got trains now, and we're doing. I've got my top hat, and it's just like, what are we doing? Sure. Where's the show going? That's my only fear. There's part of a magic to like the simplicity of the earlier Avatar stuff because it was not even like Edo period Japan. It doesn't really exist in a time, but it wasn't modern.
All I remember is is just ice because I didn't get past the book. It was Book of Water was the first one, right?
You're right. It was water. Because
But I remember the rocks. I remember they got to like the rock people like throwing rocks around.
Yes.
I think it was still book 1. That was basically as far as I got. And the Fire Nation was all mean because they have scars on their face, and that's how you know.
That's how you
they're
know.
Bad.
You're doing a really good job of describing Avatar, better than most. But yeah, we'll see as more information comes out. I am curious. I'll watch it for research. When it comes out, I'll do it. I'll take one for the team, and I'll let you guys know.
I'll watch a little more of the original series.
You should watch the original series. You can skip the live action. But
can I ask, and this is honestly curious, going a little off script here. Like, I have a lot of media to consume. I don't have to, but I like to consume a lot of media.
I have to.
And I'm not like the biggest anime guy. I appreciate anime for what it is, but I have a lot of essentials still to knock off my list.
Don't let Rob, our guest later, hear you say that.
I check my expertise at the door, or lack thereof, but I don't know. Like, it's a children's show from Nickelodeon, made by Western people, influenced by anime, and I've so many good films, TV shows, actual anime to watch. Is it just straight up? Is it fucking worth it to, like, as an adult 30-year-old man? Is it really worth watching the original Last Airbender series?
I would say, like, if you're more inclined to watch anime, Japanese anime, do that first because I think it makes you appreciate this series more and the influences. But, like, no. I mean, if you're not the biggest animation fan in general, and then you're like, well, here's a non-Japanese anime, and I'm not interested in that, yeah, you could skip it.
And I love animation.
Yeah.
I do. And I love the history of animation. That's almost more than anything, the history of animation is like what makes, because I know it was a cultural touchstone.
Yeah. It is good animation. It's good animation. It's good voice acting. It's very sweet character development. Like, overall, it is a good show, period.
It has to be.
I don't think people would argue that.
With everyone lauding it, it has to be. There has to be something that...
But It is for children. Like it's not like they're talking about crazy adult stuff secretly, and it's meant to be like secretly for adults. It's a kid show, but I think
it respects the audience.
Your intelligence. Yes,
there's
yes.
There's a huge difference between a kid show and
totally
a show that appeals to children.
Respects the audience, and I think I appreciate it. I've rewatched it now a few times. I think I rewatched it during quarantine because it's a comfortable show to watch.
That's a huge endorsement.
I enjoy it more now as an adult than I did when it was like on TV when I was a kid, when it would come on. I like didn't really watch it when I was a kid. I like kind of did, but I think I definitely enjoy it more now.
And just from what I know of it and what I remember, I mean, my like kind of, I guess the closest comparison I could have from my childhood was Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z, I think lacks the adult themes and kind of genuine like character arcs and progression. Yeah, Vegeta becomes good and blah, 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 blah. But
yeah,
like,
this is way more nuanced.
Yes, and I think there is a deeper, even though it's more for children per se, I think, from what I know that there's something good in there. And we were talking about Harry Potter, again, that's for children, but like everyone can glean something from that.
And that being said, I would love for that, in my last note, I would love for that to carry over, that aspect of it, to carry over into this new series, because like, the Uncle Ito and like they're just like these super beautifully written characters that mean so much that everyone, you know, like the theme song plays and you're taken back, or you see like a frame of it and you're just like, oh, that scene, like when Zuko, it's just like so many things that you just feel very deeply.
But is that just a nostalgia bomb because of our age?
I think it's great writing. I think
you're talking about the
original. Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, I'm saying I hope they take those to that new series and not just rely on like it's a fun show with like super cool element magic stuff. It's like that's not why people love it. People love it for the writing and for the characters and the character development. But yeah, so anyway, we got to move on, but we'll keep you posted as we get more information about this series, and I'm sure that Marcus will watch it.
100%.
Let's talk about Twitch.
Okay.
Twitch.
Yes.
You know it?
I'm torn.
You watch it? I'm torn too. I think I stream a lot on Twitch and I'm torn because I'm sure you love a lot of really controversial streamers who might have been suspended from Twitch. Great news. They're not doing that anymore. Kind of. They're basically putting expiration dates on like suspensions and bans.
Yeah.
Because Twitch put out a statement that they want to put an expiration date on things for users who have learned their lesson, have taken the time and learned their lesson.
It's only Twitch would have it like
they phrased it
in phrasing in a way that only 14-year-olds in their basement.
Yeah, they had time out and they've learned their lesson. Whatever. This is fine. Ultimately, I've seen so many. We've talked about many things online where people's lives or their livelihoods are ruined for something seemingly innocuous that gets blown up, something stupid that, you're 18, 17, you do something dumb and the internet lives forever. And if you're a content creator and a streamer and your livelihood is Twitch, if you don't really use YouTube as much or other streaming platforms and you get banned, I mean, that sucks. That sucks. Granted, there are reasons why bans and suspensions are in place to protect viewers, other people, hate speech, like all the things that will get you dangerous shit that you're showing kids. There are reasons why you should absolutely get banned, and I don't think your ban should be lifted. People can change, but also at the same time, people don't change. And if you're sort of in that vein of internet where you're doing bad stuff, I don't know if you're really going to do a 180 if that's like your brand. Maybe you don't belong on Twitch. Maybe that is not the streaming platform for you because of their set rules and guidelines. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like I said before, devil's advocate, you do something stupid once and it shouldn't ruin your digital footprint forever.
Yeah. I'm gonna always lean on the side of pro consumer, pro content creator versus pro company. So I don't love the idea of Twitch having control the livelihood of these people's, and they can just ban them for any little reason. That's always the fear. That's the one argument is like, And that's the thing. It's such a slippery slope and such a where do you draw the line? Because a line does need to be drawn, right?
And here's a good example.
Yeah.
It's not so black and white. You might be thinking like, what? Let's say you are like a Ask Me Anything talking streamer, very chill, nothing controversial, but you have songs in the background or something, and you get too many copyright.
Is that something that would get you banned?
You get banned. I'm just saying, like as an example, you don't adhere to those, and you get another notification, another warning, and you're like, whatever. You get banned.
That's even more minor than what I was thinking about.
So that's just an example. But then you have somebody, I think we've talked about on previous episodes, somebody who is purposefully doing dangerous things, telling, get up on your roofs and jump off. They're like, put a fork in a toaster. That person who pretended to put a fork in a toaster and pretended to get electrocuted, and I think pretended to like die or something.
Faking your own death might be crossing that line.
It's just like there is definitely gray area to this.
I do believe in second chances, and genuinely, it's just how I was raised. I'm not trying to kind of toot my own horn here, but
Such a good guy.
No, but I was 13 in 2007, and the words that people used, especially young teenage boys, were very different back then. And I didn't necessarily partake in those words. I'm sure things slipped out here and there, but
also didn't even know what you were saying.
Exactly.
Like not culturally aware, not understanding things.
And and I have friends of mine who would say things that and even back then, horrible things to say that like are genuinely, good people now. And they were a kid and didn't know any better back in 2007. So when it comes to things like that, again, very slippery slope. And I think it case by case is tricky, but that's... Again, I think people deserve second chances, and people can grow and change. If people can't grow and change, what's the fucking point of trying to be human and reach out and educate people? It is
funny too, like by saying like people can change. They'll grow, they'll learn their lessons. I'm like, Twitch is creating like a prison system where you have, like an amount of time that you're banned or you're like on probation until you can like come back.
I mean, actions have consequences.
Totally.
Though,
I just think it's funny to imagine like the industrialized prison complex, but like on Twitch.
Kind of what it is.
Specific. It's like, for that act, 6 months. Yeah. For this act, a year.
It is, and who's going to be deciding
That's
these?
What I'm saying.
It's like who's going to hire them, and I get it. I do, but that's why you have to have very clear terms of service, and then I think, but again, there needs to be a line. There was a controversy we talked about, in the previous year of someone preying on some of their viewers who were, I think, underage. That obviously happens, and that's fucking get rid of them. Throw them in jail. I mean, those people should be prosecuted first and foremost. So I think for me, I think the line is actual breaking of the law.
Of course.
And that to me is direct harassing of, your audience. So that's the line for me because I have a longer leash than most. But I still think if you are using hate speech, an actual penalty that's going to hit them where they hurt, 6 months, a year. I don't know what that is.
Cut them off from potential.
Can't be allowed, but to completely ban. And I'm curious too, because I'm sorry, I really was more active on the internet. No, I'm active on the internet now, but I'm well behaved and
I'm a good boy.
I was a bit of a troll, and I would never be harassing or bigoted, but I would go after the bigots and the harassers, and that occasionally would make my accounts get suspended.
Yep.
Guess what? I had like 3 backup emails, and I would just make a new account. Is that like not a thing anymore? Do they like track it by IP? I get that you have like a built brand and like subscriber base.
I think the difference is, on Twitch. And here's the other thing, like
the punishment should be starting over. I'm fine with that if that's what it already is.
This hurts them to an extent, if you have a ban for a year. But people can subscribe. You don't have to subscribe month to month. People can subscribe for 72 months if they want. So no matter what, you're probably getting a payout anyway. You just can't provide more content, so people might fall off. They might unsubscribe or unfollow or whatever. And they should, So, but, this brings up an interesting thing too. Like, what is Twitch's incentive for doing this? We like to think that they're being kind to the users on their platform and saying like, we understand that people make mistakes. That's literally the statement that they put out.
No, the people they've banned are going to their competitors and eating into their market, and they're losing money by trying to pander.
So is this them trying to rope back in people who have left Twitch for other platforms like Kick or like YouTube Live? Is this bringing people back by being like, hey, we were tough in the past, but if you come back and do this, you're just going to get like a slap on the wrist now?
I think it's both. I think it's...
That being said, I don't know that many streamers that moved to Kick and stayed on Kick. Like I
Right.
don't think it was really
Competitors need to get their shit together.
lucrative. It's at this point.
But they're not backed by Amazon, so it's
Well, that's true. You can't get that sweet Prime sub. But also at this point, we have multi-platform streaming, so it kind of doesn't matter now. And this brings up an interesting thing too. If you stream to both Twitch and YouTube, you get banned on Twitch or whatever.
right.
You can still stream to YouTube. And if you garner a following from both, you're not really hurting. So
I mean, that's potentially 30 to 50% of your revenue stream, and
that's fair.
But I hear you, and it's I don't know. I think it's just the ebb and flow. Honestly, I think a lot of these companies, even the higher ups, say what you will about higher ups. It's part of it. I do believe is a genuine intention of, hey, we want to like not make the world a shittier place through our platform. But another part of it is, we don't want the bad press associated with it, and it's a modern day. And frankly, again, not to talk about politics, but like history ebbs and flows, and right now we're in a bit of a push against cancel culture type situation, which I think also is, that
it's all from the margin to the middle, like things,
like you said, it permeates kind of everything slowly.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's part of it.
Yeah. And it's this case by case basis.
It's impossible. It's a fucking seesaw. It's like with Facebook, it used to kind of be more of the Wild West. And then they really cracked down on you violated and bans and mutes. And then it almost became a mute. Oh, I'm in Facebook jail again, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And then they got brought to Congress, and it's like, oh, how do you constitute what is allowed by free speech? Oh, do these platforms need to abide by the constitutional First Amendments, or can they have their own? It's a mess. It is a mess. I do believe that it's again double-edged sword. There's a cynicism with it. There's
a bitterness to it. There's like a hatred towards whatever reason they got banned, and it's just like, do they come back 10 times stronger? Or are they just like, I've been in Twitch prison doing push-ups for the past year. Like now I'm really gonna go at you. So I don't know.
Their mugshot goes viral.
The mugshot, because they look really hot in the mugshot, and it goes viral. But no, in all seriousness, we'll have to see how this affects Twitch and streaming services. Might not at all. This might be a nothing thing that Twitch tosses out to pander to whoever they might be pandering to, and this could really not affect the platform at all. But
I don't know enough about Twitch culture. There's no like streamer on my brain where I'm like, oh, I miss
who
Cuddly
got
Monkey 3. Like I need them. Oh, now they're coming back.
Well, I think that also shows that you watch predominantly unproblematic people. But we'll have to see what happens. I'm curious. I'm a streamer. I love video games. I follow a few streamers who I really enjoy, and I've got my finger on the pulse of the platforms of just like what people are moving to, what's the vibe. Haven't really heard anything about this. It seems like it's kind of not really affecting the people I follow, but we shall see. Yeah. Speaking of video games, let's jump to a quick topic that I just want to hit on so fast because we don't have a ton of information still. Yeah. But GTA 6.
Oh boy, the biggest media product ever.
Is it coming out this year?
I haven't looked up anything.
Just off the top of the dome.
What was the last prediction? The last prediction is 2026 was the announcement, right? The trailer said 2026.
Rockstar revealed in 2023 that they were making Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yes, December 4th, 2023.
December 4th, 2023.
Was the last we really kind of...
Yeah, that was the first annouement, and then the trailer dropped.
That was in the trailer.
That was in the trailer. Yeah, so they said in the trailer 2025.
Yes, it says coming 2025, and that's why everyone's asking, hey, will it actually come out 2025? We're already a few months in.
I think I predicted that it would be 2025. I think I said that.
I think, yes.
I think I was like, it's going to be 20. You said they think they're going to push it to 2026. No?
No, I think we agreed, actually.
Oh, we did.
That it took so long, and they were giving us such piecemeal that they would not announce it, that they had learned from the lessons of the past of faulty announcements that then they get pushed and pushed and pushed. And it takes so long, and they gave us so little that they're not going to give a date.
They're not going to give a month. Yeah,
and they didn't give a month. They have all year, which means it could have came out in January, but they're like,
yeah, that's true. When
they left it vague, but they still gave a year.
I mean, I have a feeling they're going to put it out in December, holiday, big sale.
This is an assumption, but I am assuming Grand Theft Auto 6 may have more people working on it than any other media title ever. because it is, again, GTA 5 is the best-selling media product of all time. Like, and talk about companies with their fingers in it. The launch of this title, I would be shocked if it is not the most perfectly executed, manipulated, crafted thing. There's game crunch, studios, game development and releases are a mess. But this is GTA fucking 6 we're talking about. This is a sure thing. This is no risk.
Yeah.
They're going to get all the money, everything they fucking need to launch this properly. So I think you're spot on when you say Christmas release at the end of the year. And that's the perfect time for it.
Yeah, and I don't even the game, honestly, could be done right now. It could be done right now.
And
they're sitting, they're tweaking, they're testing, it could be a finished game, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And they're just having some buggers try to break it and fix final things.
Right.
But I think the holiday push makes sense. I also think people, like you said, they're going to get their money. People will pay for this game. The question is, people are already upset about the sort of standard $65 game.
70 now.
70 now, I guess, with usually it's like $69.99. You're right. $70 game, I should say. God, I remember when it was $60.
I remember it was 50. 50 when I was a kid.
It was $50.
Yeah, saving up $50. That was always the target.
If they bring GTA 6 and they're like flat out from the beginning, $100. Is this that? Or are we like $100?
I just don't think it's going to happen.
You don't think they're going to do it for 100?
Not for I can see it happening with certain games that, they invested way more into development, but it just doesn't make sense.
They have the framework for GTA.
Yeah.
They know what they're making.
It's not even that. It's that GTA especially, it's not just the highest selling, grossing media product because of the game alone. The online community spends so much money.
But the online community, they're not going to... Do you think that online community wants GTA 6 so bad? You think so?
The ones that have still been playing GTA 5 online for the last, 12 years, they're clamoring. They can't fucking wait. And they're going to spend a lot of money on that online store. And I think, if anything, I would think that Rockstar is more tempted to release the game at a cheaper point than the standard 70, maybe even free, because that's not going to happen. They know they're going to make so much money on that online store. And that's why you always see GTA 5 is on PlayStation Plus all the time.
Yeah.
And they cycle it out, but it always comes back. And then it's always on sale because they want to get people onto the online community, get them hooked, and then have them spend hundreds. They're looking, and I work with social casinos, that's my job. So
about hooking somebody.
Whale players, that's where you make a lot of your money. It's people who are spending a lot of money on the store. That's what they're trying to attract more than it. It's cynical, but it's just the truth.
Before we move on, because we got to talk to our guest, Rob is back. What's your prediction? You think they're going to do it for less than $69.99?
No, I don't. I think it'll be $70. I don't think they're going to risk ostracizing the market and especially getting bad press right before the release of, like I said, the biggest media release ever. And I think, and the last point I kind of want to make, yes, there's a risk of releasing an unfinished game. There's no way with all the resources in this is going to be a cyberpunk situation.
No. I agree.
But we still live in a world of patches and updates to where they can make this deadline and they have a little room to work with. It's not like it was 20 years ago where the game needs to be perfect. And, and I'm not thrilled about that. But there's no excuse, especially with them announcing this a year and a half, to not make this 2025 deadline,
so Marcus's
in my opinion.
Prediction, it will be the $69.99, $70 game. It will come out in 2025. My prediction...
There will be a lot of collector's bundles for 100, 150, 200 plus.
My prediction is holiday release. Tons of bundles, different things you can get, a skin for the PS5, whatever. I think they're going to really market that, hoping that people will latch on to it, which they will, and that's fine. But yeah, I agree. I think we're looking at honestly, they might release the game for $80. I think they might bump it a little bit.
I can see that happening. Last point I want to make, just because we talk about this so much, I always talk about how I'm waiting for, a reason to get a PS5.
Yeah.
If a bundle comes out with the PS5 and GTA 6 is a PS5 exclusive, which I imagine it's not going to be available on PS4, it might be it. And I'm not even the biggest GTA fan in the world, but I recognize how big of a deal a GTA game is. I might do it.
Honestly, Marcus, we've talked about this. I just recently spoke about Cyberpunk, how it doesn't exist on the PS4 anymore. They stopped making updates in 2022. this might be the push that I need to officially get a PS5 because I'm going to get GTA 6.
I'm the host of
1,000%
of a gaming podcast. Whether or not I'm good at my job is, up to you. But I can't not play GTA 6.
Exactly.
I can't.
If I
there's
can't,
no way.
Yeah, I'd have to.
It's the biggest event of the decade.
I didn't even think about that, but that's so true. Holiday time.
PS5 sales might skyrocket if.
Truly.
Granted, so many people are on PC, and obviously it's
right.
For that.
All right, we got to keep our finger on the pulse. We'll keep watching out for another trailer drop, which I assume they'll do in the coming months.
They got to say something soon.
They will. In the coming months, I definitely predict that. But let us know. Would you bite the bullet and buy like $100 game if GTA 6 was that game? Super curious.
My answer to that is no, but I would buy a $400 system.
Yeah, right. You're like, but I'll buy a console and the game together.
For a $500 bundle, I would do that.
That's girl math. That's game math. But stick around. We've got Rob coming up next. We're going to talk a ton of anime again with him. Very excited. So stay tuned. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. We have Rob back with us again. I am so excited. You may know Rob from our last episode, or if you don't, maybe you know Shonen Showdown. Rob, welcome back.
Yeah, this is a genuine smile, which is very rare for me.
Genuine happiness.
I'm stoked to have you back.
I'm excited to be back. It's Rob, Shonen Showdown. We talk anime, we talk gaming, a lot of fun debates, a lot of interactive community debates. I go to conventions, so hopefully I see you at the next one. And Sydney, Marcus, thank you for having me again.
For sure.
Pleasure.
Dude, it's been so fun talking to you. Please go check out our last episode if you didn't catch it with Rob. We talked about, goated animes, favorite animes, manga adaptations. Did you have a question already?
I do have a question off the bat just based on the intro. We deal with a hot take sometimes. And
it's true.
We talk for 2+ hours sometimes, and I'll have a 10-second overly impassionate hot take that becomes a TikTok that I look bad because of. But I also lean into that a little bit because showmanship, and also I'm a passionate individual. You said debates and kind of tier lists and discussions are a huge part of kind of your brand and your content, which I love. And obviously controversy is a little bit easier to kind of go viral. So it's something I struggle with, and I think we both do a good balance of this, where I stay true to myself. I don't want to push a controversy, but I also like being the villain a little bit and like having a hot take. What's your relationship with authenticity versus something that's gonna kind of shock people, when it comes to kind of these debates? Is it just purely being yourself, or do you find yourself catching yourself kind of leaning into more hot take territory, if you will? We talked about First Take, where it's like, Stephen A. Smith, I'm sorry, you're not this passionate about every single topic you talk about. But there's a certain level of entertainment value within that, where it's authentic, yet there's a third eye involved. And he strikes that balance well. Again, how do you kind of approach such things?
I talk about stuff that makes me, I perfectly try to curate things that aligns with what I like or things that I'm passionate about. I know if I'm not really passionate about talking, about a certain anime or a certain topic, I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not going to really be passionate. But everything that you're seeing it's truly me. That's what you're going to get. And people that have met me at conventions and talk to me and stuff, they know, like, I'm showing you how I feel. I'm talking about what I feel, and we can discuss. And that's why I'm able to have these conversations, because if I was just saying it just to say it, it'll be hard for me to really back up what I'm saying. But I'm actually working to try to convince people to at least hear me out, hear what I'm trying to say, and that's like one of the harder things, because everybody has very strong opinions, especially in the anime space, whether you're talking power scaling or even just story wise. But there's always that third party, and that third party is the creator of the show and the mangaka. So hopefully, they end up siding with you if you're making a wild theory or a wild prediction, right? So sometimes we'll see. We'll see what happens.
You also give a voice to the audience and your community when you do, like when you go to cons and talk to people.
Oh, yeah.
You're not really like debating with them face to face. You're letting them debate each other and sort of choose their own tier list. And man, it's so fun to watch that interaction happen, and you kind of take a back seat. You're giving them like the tools, but like they have some of the hottest takes out there.
Oh, yeah.
They're digging their own graves for you, and you're just like, okay.
It's funny because what I love about that is some people, the comment section can be some of the craziest. You'll see some of the craziest comments about your content or yourself.
What?
And
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
No.
The internet?
The internet's nice. They're great people. Everyone's amazing.
Rob, you're telling me people on YouTube are mean or weird? I don't think so.
We've never experienced that in our lives. Yeah.
Go on.
Oh man, yeah, no, it's wicked. It's wicked out there. So I think like doing this in-person tier list at conventions, I love it because it's like, hey, now you're in that seat. Now I was the crazy guy for saying, One Piece is over this anime, but you just said Naruto's F tier. So how does that work? Either we're both crazy or what's going on? So I love that. I love putting them in the hot seat and saying, you know what? Now it's your turn. It's.
And what do you think tier list wise gets people the most heated? Because I feel like you did the main character tier list, which definitely, people were shitting on Naruto, and then they were. It was sad. It was sad.
Yeah. Oh no.
I love that boy. But
mob mentality, man.
It's true. People would gang up and they'd be like lower, and the one person was just like looking at them like lowering it. It's sad, a tear rolling down their face. But what do you think, tier list wise or like debate wise, gets the anime community either joining together in a good way or like riled up in a heated way?
I think it's there's certain shows or certain characters that I feel like are in an untouchable category, which means if you mess with Luffy, it's gonna be an issue.
That's true.
If you mess with, Naruto, if you're messing with Ichigo, there's certain characters where it's like Guts from Berserk. You draw Guts, that the people that are Berserk fans are gonna be on you if you don't handle it.
The theme
properly.
song is playing in my head as you speak.
Yeah.
It's entrenched, exactly.
Yeah, so there's certain shows and there's certain characters that are sort of the untouchables. Now, there are people that will go against the grain, obviously, and that's where wartime will start. But for the most part, I feel like there's characters that there's a little bit more breathing room for you to put them in a lower tier or somewhere in the middle. But there's other characters where it's like, listen, this character has so much love, like the popularity of this character is through the roof, that no matter what you do, the popularity of that character is going to skew the scale. It's just, it's just gonna happen.
It's true. That's true. I wanted to ask too, because your live videos with tier list at conventions are great. Do you have like a favorite con you've been to, or ones that you continually go back to?
I want to say MomoCon in Atlanta is probably one of my favorite ones. They always show love. I will say I've had the most panels at DreamCon. That's RDC World's convention. So I gotta show them love in that regard for sure, because it's tough getting panels. But if you're able to get one, and I've uploaded some videos of me hosting panels with my friends, and they've always, people come through and we have a great time. We discuss anime and we do like a little competition. It's a lot of fun. So
did you go to Anime Con in New York? Because I know it's relatively new.
I've been to Anime NYC as well, and that's what I was going to get to next. Anime NYC is up there for sure. I think. And
it's hard because it's like, it's hard. It's a new con. It's a breakaway from Comic-Con to try to, because Comic-Con has just gotten too big. I mean, it's like there's too much going on.
And they're trying to fill literally the same space as Comic-Con, which is like an impossible task.
But do you recommend Anime NYC? You said you like the improvements that they've been making?
Yeah. No, I think Anime NYC, because they're now a 4-day convention. And, and I love the move from the fall to the summer. Now I know a lot of people were saying like, they love the cold. They want to. I was like, I'm against it. I'd rather be in warmer weather personally. And I think it's better for the cosplayers too. The cosplayers are coming through with 10 jackets on, And then when I go to code check or whatever, because I normally when I'm going to conventions I have recording equipment with me, or I have I'm carrying around the tier list board and stuff, and sometimes I want to drop it off at a code check or whatever's, and it's just like in the fall it was an issue because there's so many people in here because it's so cold, and it's just I'd rather it be in the summer.
Well, and it's also a pilgrimage in and of itself to come to Comic-Con in the fall, for and then you can't just have people stick around for a month. Yeah, for Anime NYC. I mean, they were too close together to where it was like it's almost like the outside world was forcing them together.
Right.
I thought you were going to say it's a pilgrimage to get to the Javits Center, and I was like,
it is.
Kind of.
Yeah, it is.
And the thing is, it used to be the weekend right before Thanksgiving too. Right. So it was always like the timing was just not it. It was never.
And then so to go through the rigmarole of commuting through New York City, especially if you're from outside of the state or region, to do it twice within like a month.
Cosplay on the subway from Queens to Javits. I would so much rather do it in the summer.
Let's separate
than
that
the winter
by a few months so that people can actually go to both. Because if it used to be at least where it was either Comic-Con or Anime NYC, I almost feel, and now you have the option for both. And Comic-Con, even for anime people, because it's a bigger convention, was a bigger draw. So it's like, not only was it a budget issue, but it was, passion issue.
It makes me really happy, though. I mean, we said in the last episode, the community has grown so much, and it's not just for kids anymore, and like adults it's okay to be a nerd. There's this like nerd revival culture.
I was almost ashamed. Like I hid that my brother was into anime and I was kind of into it too growing up, which is sad. But I was in a bumfuck town in the Midwest, and it was a different time.
One of my regrets was they asked me to be in anime club when I was in middle school, and I was like, "That's social suicide. I can't do it."
It was social. Honestly, which is fucking sad and a shame. But that's how it was when we were in middle school.
Were you in anime club?
I didn't have an anime club in my school.
Oh, okay.
But even
I thought you were going to say, listen, I was in anime club.
Yeah, no, I did not have anime club at my school, but I definitely had my group of friends that, we talked about anime and we talked about video games, I have friends back
and you didn't talk about it with anybody else.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we did, but we didn't know who else was really watching it. That was the thing. So it's not like I was kind of afraid to show my personality. It was more so like, I don't know if, John down the hall is also watching Naruto because he's not wearing any, he's not wearing the Akatsuki Cloud jacket or anything.
He's not doing this in Naruto running down the hallway.
He's not, so you would never know. You know what I'm saying? You would never know unless you ask. So
that was the when we were in middle school. That was the association was
if you Naruto ran,
had the risk. And I don't want to talk down on anyone because like. Again, I respect those fans for showing their fandom when it was something that people were ridiculed for.
And now you got like the coolest, like the most dope collabs between clothing lines and like hypewear and streetwear with anime.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And it's so sick. I'm just like, to be a kid in this era of the revival would be so cool.
It's cool to me to see. I mean, I was born in 94. So, like, when I was a kid, elementary school, my brother liked Dragon Ball Z and his friends liked Sailor Moon. So those were the kind of the two. And people didn't really know about it. It was, like, unknown and underground. And then when I was in, like, middle school, late elementary school, it was kind of a nerdy thing that was... And frankly, it's the backwards Midwest and like just a bunch of backwoods white kids who like would talk shit about, something that was that niche and it was weird.
And that they didn't understand.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the popularity started increasing when I was in high school and it became, similar with just nerd fandom in general, became more mainstream. And since then, it's just built and built and built and built and built to now where it's, I don't know if I'd call it mainstream, but fringe mainstream and certainly not something to be embarrassed or ashamed about. And it's dynamic communities that is awesome to see.
I think part of that like crossover into mainstream was animated films, and like we talked about Studio Ghibli, and how much that impacted people's view of anime and animated films coming from Japan. Are you into like the Studio Ghibli Miyazaki world, or do you really only like the anime TV shows? Have you dabbled in both?
Yeah, I listen. I watched my fair share of Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke. I've seen Howl's Moving Castle. I understand it, The Boy and the Heron. So yes, absolutely. Miyazaki is one of the goats for sure.
1000%.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of what you were saying, Marcus, the thing is that is really funny about this is a lot of people that were talking crazy about anime didn't also realize that they were kind of anime fans in themselves. Like they would be like, anime's weird, anime's for kids, and I'm like, you had Pokemon cards, you were playing Pokemon, you were playing Yu-Gi-Oh. What were you? You were watching, like, you were doing the same exact thing and didn't know it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, well, Pokemon's not really. Yes, it is anime. You know, so it's like you were watching DBZ. Oh, DBZ's the only one that counts, but you were on Pokemon. You were on Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
So Dragon Ball doesn't count. It's like, but no, it's literally
And not to change the subject, but Pokemon in particular, I had talked shit about turn-based JRPGs for years. And then someone was like, wait, what about Pokemon? I'm like, Pokemon's not a turn-based JRPG. And then I was like, wait a minute. And like, my mind exploded. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of people have had that moment, that epiphany.
Right.
And are like, hey, maybe I'm being a little biased here.
Mm-hmm. And I want to segue though. We've talked about so many like goats of anime, favorite characters, the untouchable characters, you know, that no matter what are S tier or like high A tier. And I wanted to play a little game, Rob, where you have such vast knowledge of anime, and we talk a lot about pop culture in general, and I wanted to throw some outside of anime characters at you and see if we could try to pair them up in like who would win in a fight type situation. So I was thinking it would be fun if we sort of did a 1v1 of like a goated anime character, or even not goated. Some, you know, it could be like somebody else, but versus a non-anime character. So like the first one I thought of was like the alien, the xenomorph from Aliens,
my favorite.
Verse. And I'm trying to think of who would be a good one because they're kind of OP.
Well, is there any
like Goku?
If we don't know, well, that's the
Goku is an alien.
It's true.
Wait a second.
I think it would be more like a Cyberman versus a Xenomorph in that instance. You know, because these are hive-minded. I think the ultimate question, whenever this question is asked, it's always, and I think Rob knows where I'm going with this, Goku versus Superman. You know, is like that ultimate debate.
Is this the ultimate debate?
I mean, they're basically the same character. No offense to either franchise.
Fascinating.
Well, a refugee from a different planet that's about to be blown up, thrown to Earth, doesn't know that they're an alien with all these amazing powers, comes into their own, and is a savior for the Earth.
What is Goku's kryptonite?
His tail. It is in Dragon Ball.
His tail his
If you grab his tail, 100%.
Yeah,
watch the Saiyan saga in Dragon Ball Z. Raditz gets him by grabbing his tail.
Wow.
It's huge. That's the Saiyan's weakness. Their tail is their source of pride,
heel.
but also if you grab their tail, they're completely powerless.
Okay, so they both have a kryptonite.
That's why all the Saiyans chop off their tails. Also, it stops them from turning into the giant, what is it, Uzaku?
Yep, the Great Eight are...
Okay, so this...
One thing I know is Dragon Ball.
Yeah. This seems like a good matchup then.
Yeah.
Rob, I throw it to you. Goku versus Superman. I feel like we're starting with the
I mean, that's
Superman.
the debate. Yeah.
You know, here's the thing, right? Superman is somebody that there's so many different forms of Superman. I still don't even know all the forms of Superman. And
that's
depending
fair.
on which form you take, there are forms of Superman that I think have achieved greater feats than Goku. Absolutely.
Okay.
I think I believe it's either like Cosmic Superman or something insane. There was some forms of Superman that were insane. But I do think that it's impressive, at least on the flip side, that I don't know if I want to go into the Dragon Ball Super manga here, really, but...
Do it. I mean, when he's a god, literal god.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Goku basically has access to the power of Hakai, right? And Hakai in Dragon Ball Super is destruction energy. It's what, Beerus used in Battle of Gods and all this stuff. It's the power of destruction. And his ability to add that to his bag, plus, Ultra Instinct form. He has true Ultra Instinct. He used that to fight Jiren, who was God of Destruction level. I mean, Goku is also in his own right ridiculous. And he is able to grow in power, somewhat exponentially. Not like Broly, but Goku is able to rise up and get powerful as the fight goes on. Versus,
the power scaling of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, Superman out the gate is just here, but he's like, you know what level he is, you know where you're getting. And so I think it depends on how the fight goes, but I think there are forms of Superman that can defeat Goku. It just depends on which Superman you're talking about.
I agree with you. And to me, I kind of separated the Akira Toriyama version of Goku up through the end of the Dragon Ball manga. I think I would give the slight edge to Superman. But then if you dive into Super, as soon as kind of his fight with Beerus concludes and he unlocks Super Saiyan God, then I feel like the power scaling Goku just blows Superman out of the water. Yeah.
Right.
So then my next question on this game, if you don't mind, and then it's all you.
Please.
Just I'm trying to think of the closest comparison I can do, and this is the best I could come up with. Luffy versus Jack Sparrow from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. It's the closest I can come up with.
Jack Sparrow's incompetent.
Is he? He's dumb like a fox. Put some rum in that man. He's gonna figure out the situation.
Well, here's what I think. All right, no, Rob, you speak on Luffy first, because I feel like you. Yeah, go
I think
ahead.
the answer's obvious, but I think there's something in there.
Okay.
Are we talking fighting? Are we talking hands? Or
We're talking fighting. We're talking fighting.
Okay, say they both have a pirate. No, I think we have to change it for the debate. A pirate goal. Say they both have to achieve a goal of plundering a treasure or something. I don't know. I don't think a 1v1 combat is a good comparison.
1v1, Jack Sparrow is dead.
Yeah. But his deception and his wits have to be a part of it.
I see what you're saying. So
and his pirating.
Them as pirates.
Them as pirates,
okay.
yes. I think that's a great way to put it.
Is Luffy a better pirate than Jack Sparrow?
Yeah.
That's a... Oh, man. All right, it's a question change. Okay. Is he a better pirate? In the true... If we think of, the negative connotation that pirates have, I think Jack Sparrow does fit a natural pirate, as we know the word of what a pirate is being, more than
drunken
Luffy.
Scoundrel.
Right.
Yeah.
Drunken scoundrel. Somebody that or even pirates go to places and they collect loot and they do all that's more of your job as a pirate. Luffy is somebody that kind of marches to the beat of his own drum. He is somebody that loves freedom. He goes to different islands and frees the people, and sometimes it's just because he wants to, right? It's not like he sets out like, my dream is to free everybody. It's like, no, he just loves freedom himself, and he wants other people to experience that. And so he's not really a pirate in that sense. But if you're saying like for somebody achieving their goal, or like who I'm gonna bet on, I want to bet on Luffy every single time.
That was maybe the nicest double-edged compliment I've ever seen in the best way possible, where you're like, Jack Sparrow is a better pirate in that he is a bigger thieving piece of shit, essentially. However, in a fight or an actual like who I want on my crew, it's Luffy all the way. Yeah. So that was diplomatically masterclass right there, 100%. And I think that makes sense because I think Jack Sparrow is a much bigger piece of shit than Luffy.
Yeah, Luffy's not a piece of shit.
No,
he's great.
Right.
Okay, I have a slightly different one. I want to go villain route, and I think Orochimaru was like one of the first. Oh, thanks. Was one of the first like memorable villains for me. Like Full Metal Alchemist was the first anime that got me into anime, but that's different. It's sort of like a monster of the week almost, with the different villains that they are fighting kind of constantly. But Orochimaru was like constant for Naruto and for Sasuke. So I want to put Orochimaru and like, I'm thinking of like Loki from Marvel, or like Darth Vader, like somebody who is so
trickster,
like the big bad
antagonist.
Like,
okay.
Yeah,
Darth Vader's good.
And Orochimaru is like the snake.
What's
slimy.
his? He's deceptive. He's
deceptive.
Voldemort maybe.
Ooh, Voldemort.
Trying to think
Also has like a snake thing too.
Loki's good, but he's as good as he's an anti-hero more than anything.
That's true. He's an anti-hero. Okay, let's do Voldemort.
Okay.
And Orochimaru, and they both have like magic. It's both sort of magic based.
That's what I'm thinking, or Thanos maybe is another.
No, I think Voldemort's good. Thanos could also be good, but unless he's got the glove, because if he's just got the snap,
We're talking Infinity Stone armed Thanos, like big. We're talking big bad, ultimate threat, can't raise the stakes any higher type of bad guy, right? When you're saying
Then
this?
I think if it's Thanos, Thanos would have to go up with Madara. If we're going Naruto verse,
okay.
or it would have to go that way because
because Orochimaru is like, he's not the big bad. He's not like he's just a dick. He's just like a deceptive, slimy villain.
Loki might be the good comp for that. Anyway.
No, but okay, so let's do this then. Maru and Thanos.
All right, Madara and Thanos. Are we saying like who's more menacing, or are we saying like who's more dominant?
Who is better at achieving their ultimate goal of mass
Yeah, like
takeover?
who's more, not like who would win in a fight, but who's more dominant over their...
Yeah, within their... Who's more successful within their goals, I guess would be the most...
It's hard to get like a villain's perspective, but...
If
we can split it too. Yeah, if it's just straight up fight, I want to know your opinion.
Okay, yeah, maybe it's a straight up fight. I don't know.
Well, if we say who's more successful in their goals, that's Thanos.
He did it. Okay. He did it.
He literally achieved what he was setting out to do, and Madara.
True.
Not only did Madara not do it, but Madara's entire plan was, Black Zetsu was pulling the strings behind Madara, who was obviously Kaguya's. Technique and power and whatever. So Madara didn't really draw up the plays as far as we know them, but the way he executed them was masterful. And I think, Thanos having access to the Infinity Gauntlet obviously made him a force to be reckoned with, but the plays he drew up were not they weren't on the same level as Madara. Madara had he had his hands in literally everything that was going on in Naruto. It was down to the way the Akatsuki were formed, and they were, trying to hunt down the Jinchuriki so then they can unlock the 10 tails. There's so many different things going around that I think Thanos was more of a character that I saw was just brute force. I'm gonna brute force my way through this. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
He wasn't like crazy. He philosophized a lot. Like
right.
He was like, the world would be better, and I was like, I don't think you really know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to Naruto really quick. If anyone knows this reference, The Wire's Marlo Stanfeld versus Gaara from Naruto. Is that going in everyone? Is that?
I'm not familiar with.
I'm going as obscure as I can just to be a fucking
Although
dick.
Gaara also is a villain, but then is not a villain anymore.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Oh, yeah, and he actually turns around. There's
okay,
a much better one I had in my mind. Yeah,
one.
please.
Have you seen Sword Art Online?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I'm
it's
not fully
fine.
caught
Whatever.
up, but I'm not.
It
fully
doesn't
caught up.
matter. You don't need to. It's fine. It's not that good. Sword Art Online. I even forget the dude's name, but the main dude with the big sword.
Yeah, Kirito.
Is that what's his name?
Kirito.
Kirito. Kirito versus Cloud from Final Fantasy or My Beloved Kingdom Hearts series. But Cloud's got a big sword.
That's true.
Kirito's got a big sword, but he's in a video game. So I guess Cloud would be put in the video game.
What do they say about big sword? Big boots.
That's what they say. Big sword, big sheath.
Herman reference anyway.
Or who else has a big sword who could fight Kirito? He's a good fighter.
Who
he
could fight Kirito?
Nightmare from Soul Calibur.
Wow,
Soul
we're going to
Calibur,
Soul
yeah.
Calibur. Wow. Okay.
God, I love
Video
Soul
game
Calibur.
podcast.
Yeah. Maybe Ike.
Ooh,
Fire
great
Emblem.
choice. Yeah, Fire Emblem.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could do it. Ice. Ooh.
Yeah, there's some characters in there. If we start off with just Kirito versus Cloud, based on what I know, I think Kirito has a lot more abilities, but Cloud having to deal with the menace that is Sephiroth. I mean,
That's true.
Gonna slow you down.
And he has a longer sword. Like, you know what I mean?
Sword
Like,
is really thick.
you know,
his
even if you
love
play
interest
Smash
blood
Bros,
still on it.
one swipe,
Yeah.
half the map, you got
the
a shield.
reach.
Yeah, so
So true. So that's a good mashup because
That
it's
is
like
good, yeah.
Kirito has like these fast moves and he like uses his sword to jump and stuff, and Cloud
Yeah.
is like, I could hit you from 20 feet
Right,
away.
right. I got one based on what we've talked about today. Anime
It's gotta
adjacent.
be like the last one.
Is this the last one?
Yeah.
Okay. Anime adjacent is, we were talking about Last Airbender, and forgive
yeah.
me, it was a running joke. She knows much more about Airbender than I do, or Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
See? Shows how much I know. The jaded, spoiled kid with the scar from the Fire Nation versus, what is his name?
Zuko.
You don't know his name?
No, I don't know. I haven't seen the show for 15
He's
years.
like a beloved. People love Zuko.
There's
well, they
not
hate
a lot
him,
of
but they
space
love
in
him.
here. I'm
right,
killing brain cells quicker than I can fill them.
Versus who?
Another entitled, whiny heir to the throne, Kylo Ren from Star Wars. Is that not a good? I don't know the show Airbender, Avatar that well, but I feel like there's a lot of parallels there.
They both have a scar.
They're both just whiny little teenagers with too much power.
They
in more
are
ways
both.
than one.
They are both like in a lineage to rise
Yeah.
to the top.
And they both turn good ultimately at the end, and they both are, I assume, no offense, I haven't seen it. I watched the first season of
Spoilers.
Avatar, I could tell that motherfucker turned good, all right? It's a little on the nose. Kylo Ren turned good. Yeah.
That's an interesting mashup.
So you guys have to put me on more to Kylo Ren because I know more about Zuko, but
I guess
Yeah.
Kylo Ren is like a bit Darth Vader-y. I mean, that's the point. He's got the Force.
He's the son of
thing.
Han and Leia. He was corrupted by the dark side at a young age, and
He's kind of like a emo Spider-Man from that
Yeah.
one Tobey Maguire movie.
very angsty, very
Yeah.
violent, ragey, and he's pulled because he was, has good roots. But every influence in his life is telling him, you need to be evil, you need to lead this army.
The
But he doesn't
characters are quite
necessarily want it.
similar in their sort of like character
forced.
arcs
Yeah.
of being so angry and like so upset with
Yeah.
their family and like all these things going on around them.
They're forced in this position of evil that they don't necessarily want to do, but yet they're very good at.
I mean, honestly, I think they would both come to like the final blow, like the killing blow. Zuko
Right.
would have like a huge fire ball waiting, and Kylo would be like choking him with the Force, and then they both would be like, "What are we doing? We just hate our dad."
Well, I think whoever
Like-
is truly evil, whoever has more actual hate and evil in their heart, I think has the edge, because I think it's going to push them over and be like.
And I don't think it's
"Fuck this,
Zuko.
I don't
I don't think Zuko has that hate in his heart. He doesn't have that dog in him. He's
okay.
he's like so conflicted throughout all
he is.
of Avatar, right? Like
yeah.
Whereas Kylo, it's more like you don't really see it until you see it. Bits
you don't
and pieces.
see it until he like kills someone, and then he's like, "Oh,
And even then,
no.
it's more like he's just. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So Kylo Ren. Yeah, Kylo did kill the man who shot. He killed his. Kylo did Zuko or whatever, Danny Zuko or whatever, kill his own father in the end? If he did, they're the same fucking character. But
no, he didn't kill his what?
Kylo
no,
Ren,
he didn't kill his dad.
Kylo Ren killed Harrison Ford, Han Solo.
So he's more evil.
I think he's a little more evil. I'd give it to him.
I guess we decided for you, Rob.
Rob, what's your opinion? Rob, what's your opinion? I'm sorry.
We got it. We have to wrap it up. But Rob, really quick before we wrap it up, I did want to talk to you super fast about Dan Da Dan. I know we touched on it last time.
Yes.
Are you a fan of these more, I would say, adult theme animes? There's, Devilman Crybaby, Dan Da Dan, inappropriate for children, I would say, and horror manga is another offshoot of anime and manga that people are really into. What do you lean more towards?
So that's a great question. I love, mainly shonen. But Dan is one of those series that incorporates everything, right? There's so many different themes. There's comedy, romance, horror, action, adventure, sci-fi. Like it's literally all into one. And that's why I loved reading it because, I love science. I went to school for engineering. So cool. I love like, growing up, I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a little kid, right? So I love like looking at outer space and having those deep conversation are like, are aliens real? Are ghosts real? Stuff like that. Watching horror movies.
Yeah.
I love horror movies. So just seeing like Dan Da Dan put all of that together. Chef's kiss, man.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss. I loved it.
Oh, man.
I loved it. So yeah, it's a great series. Marcus, I recommend you read it. Sydney, I also recommend you read it too.
I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't mind, we'd love to know where we can find you. But first, personal question: what's your favorite horror movie of all time? If you have to just say one. I'm an Alien guy, as we talked about earlier, 1979.
That's a hard question.
It's a very hard question.
My favorite one is... This is a hard question. I would probably have to go with either... Because I do have a list. I have a list. I'll probably have to go with Sinister 1, the first Sinister.
Good choice. Ethan Hawke, shout out.
Yes.
Yeah. The ultimate found footage horror, in my opinion.
So good.
It perfected it.
Yes. Yeah, it was. And the music, I get chills listening to that soundtrack. I'm like, I can't even. The Sinister soundtrack is so creepy, man. But it's great. It's great.
And
Rob, we can't thank you enough.
Yeah, and one more thing before you sign off and plug yourself. If you could recommend an anime or a manga or both to everybody out there listening, what would you recommend if people are trying to get into it, curious about anime, curious about manga?
I think if you want something short and sweet, but it's really, really good, I would recommend Death Note, just as a calm little gateway. If you're looking for,
I can't believe we haven't talked about that.
Yeah, I can't believe we didn't talk about Death Note. What the heck?
Yeah, Death Note's amazing. If you want something that's a little more gritty in action, I would say Attack on Titan. If you want to watch my GOAT, watch One Piece. And if you already are a fan of anime and you're looking for new stuff to watch, I would recommend one of my most underrated anime of all time, The Law of Ueki. I'm always plugging The Law of Ueki everywhere I am or everywhere I go. I love it. It's super underrated, super low key, but I grew up on it, and yeah.
Heck yeah, I'm
Very
taking
good
notes.
final
I'm like,
question.
Law of Ueki, all right, gonna watch that tonight.
That was a perfect way to wrap things
Yeah,
up. Because
and-
now
and
I'm like, that was
please
excellent knowledge.
Tell everybody where they can find you,
Yes.
where they can find Shonen Showdown, and all of your wonderful, wonderful videos.
You can find me at Shonen Showdown on YouTube, The Shonen Showdown on TikTok, Shonen Showdown on Instagram, and also Twitter. Again,
Heck yeah.
Sydney, Marcus, thank you guys so much for having me again. This was awesome.
Rob, oh my God. When you're
This is
back in New
awesome.
York, you got to come
Yeah.
through again, and we'll do this in person. This was such a pleasure. Thank you for taking the
Absolutely.
time and hanging with us.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Rob.
See you next time. All right, and stick around, everybody. We'll be continuing with our tier list.
Yeah. We're back.
And we have, I think, maybe my favorite tier
Yeah.
list that we've done in a little while.
This is going to be tough because it's going to be so hard to knock anything.
I know,
You know what I mean?
know. We're doing Studio Ghibli or
Yeah.
Studio Ghibli movies,
And
just the studio itself, like all the films.
Right. And this is relative to each other.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a majority of these movies are masterpieces, and we
And
haven't seen
since
them all.
it would be too hard to do like animated film,
Right.
so we're doing specifically within Studio Ghibli. So we have to compare.
It'll be tough to knock anything lower than a B, I feel.
It feels
But we're going to.
insulting to knock it lower than a B, but maybe we'll try.
But again, relative to each other. So please know that at a minimum, there's nothing on this list I think I would put under a B. So
No. Do you? I want to say my favorite.
Please start with your S.
This is my S.
I think we can have two S's. I think that's
Yeah,
fair.
yours and mine. There'll be two S's.
Yeah.
Unless we really disagree. Spirited Away is my favorite. I think it's the one that I've rewatched the most times. It's the one that I recommend the most to people to get them into Studio Ghibli stuff.
Yeah.
It's super approachable, even for its sort of wild themes. The sort of like Baba Yaga sort of arc, and then dragons and mythological stuff. Little soot guys. The characters are wild, but not as wild as like a Totoro.
Right.
So I always recommend this one first before you dive into others. The music also insanely beautiful. Animation, the food animation.
Oh, yeah.
I think it just hits all the marks for me.
It is the choice. It is the quintessential number one for a reason. And I'll be honest, as a kid, I couldn't really get into it. And as I've gotten older and older, the more I appreciate it, the more I realize why it's considered the quintessential.
I cry every time.
It's brilliant.
I think it's so
It's
good.
To me, I draw a lot of parallels to Pan's Labyrinth, which is like speaks to me a little more because I'm a little, again, maybe Western influence,
female
but
character,
young
and
female girl exploring
scary.
this mystical, very intimidating world,
Yeah.
and finding herself and her place, and it's similar but not derivative at
No,
all.
no.
Just again, maybe it's because they
And
both
Pan's
take
Labyrinth
place.
was like a war movie, and
Yes,
this is
it takes place in Spain. It's so they're both different cultures that I'm used to, and there's which I love. It's great. Easy S, can't disagree with that. For me, that's not even in my top 3. It's like a fringe top 5.
Whoa! What? I'm so curious what your S is.
Nostalgia is a huge part because Studio Ghibli films really touched me as a kid. My number 1 is maybe a hot, controversial take. I don't see this as number 1 for a lot of other people. And again, this is really heavily in nostalgia. Castle in the Sky.
Oh, I mean,
I love Castle in the Sky.
I thought you were going to say like a super out there one. Castle in the Sky is fantastic.
The pirates. Yeah. But the lovable pirate, like the granny. Oh my God, I'm terrible, but I don't know her name. But like the granny pirate. And it's like, and Mark Hamill's voice acting is amazing. Yeah. And like when they actually get to the Castle in the Sky, it's like so tragic and beautiful and like quiet. And oh my God, there's just nothing. I love that movie. For me, it's my number 1, and why if we can only have a couple of S's, I put that as an S. And then a close follow-up.
Right below.
Which I would put as my high A.
Do you want to say, I feel like we're going to say the same thing. Do you want to say it at the same time?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Princess Mononoke. Okay. Kiki's is fantastic.
Mononoke is my number 3. So
okay. So as soon as you said it was like close, I was like,
Yeah.
Princess Mononoke is like right there for me.
Kiki's Delivery Service was very early.
Yeah.
And the animation is still gorgeous, but shows that it's a little less ambitious. But that's what I love about it. It's about like a friendly little witch doing a delivery service in this town and like winning over the town. Obviously the stakes get raised, but like talk about comfort movie. Like I can't think of a more like
sweet.
And I'm a cat guy, and that's part of it too. It's one of the most likable talking cats in
I think
media.
Very different from that sort of feel good vibe is Princess Mononoke, which is much more like Fern Gully. You know, the forests are being destroyed. There were so many movies like this, like Fern Gully, Thumbelina, like all
Pocahontas,
these.
Dances with Wolves, Avatar.
Truly about industrialization,
Right.
the destruction of forests and natural habitats, and then, of course, the mythology of that, magical wolves and like a wild child who's the princess in the forest. It's so close to, I mean, it's like a perfect film. I don't think anything's wrong with it. But again, nostalgia, Spirited Away was like my intro.
Right.
So this came after, and it's a little scary.
I love how you say that because, and we talked about this a couple episodes ago. Princess Mononoke, I kind of avoided because I was,
it's a little the blood. I mean,
right. But I was like an 8, 9, 10-year-old boy, and I was like, oh, princess. It was the same reason. It's like my parents were like, oh, I got this movie, you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
It's called Princess Bride. I'm like, oh, Princess Bride. I literally had the same reaction as Fred Savage at the beginning of the movie.
Princess
where I'm like,
Bride.
princesses with
you mean
kissing?
Women lady movie? No, thanks.
And I ended up falling in love with the movie, as one does. And similar with Princess Mononoke, I was like, Princess? Oh, is this just, Beauty and the Beast? Great movie. And then I watched it and like, sucking the blood out of their like injured wolf. This is a guerrilla war style, gritty war movie. Like, and it's badass and awesome, and Princess Mononoke is my number 3, and a very strong A, in my opinion. I feel like we need to, do you have anything that you could put in like a C or a low B that's on here? There's only one that I can really think of that I've seen off the top of my head.
Yeah, like controversial because I really, really do love the movie, and I saw it at an age where it was a similar vibe to Sailor Moon Tuxedo Mask. So I'm going to say Howl's Moving Castle.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
Even though I love this movie, it was very much like male savior, hot, mysterious man whisks away a young girl. But for that, great movie.
That's a hot take.
But compared to the others that I think have much stronger plots, more meaningful plots, this one was like magic and there's a hot guy.
Yeah.
But as a kid, you don't really think about that. Like, I was just like, this is whimsical and like steampunk, moving, beautiful. But as an adult, I can look back and be like, yeah, I just thought the characters were hot. Like, it's fine that the plot's not that great.
That's a very hot take because I feel like I've seen it as like a dark horse contender and the number 1 on a lot of people's list. People love Howl's. For me, I feel like I need to rewatch it because I saw it again when I was young and it didn't really, I liked it, but it didn't resonate with me that much. Similar to Spirited Away. But I rewatched Spirited Away, and now it's resonated with me much more. So I feel like I need to give it another watch.
I will
How cool is
say-
Low B on that?
I will say, Rotten Tomatoes has those 3 films we said in high 90s, and Howl's Moving Castle is in the 80s.
Really? I take it back. Okay, fair enough.
I want to throw in 2 that have very low scores on Rotten Tomatoes, just for posterity's sake, so we know we're doing our due diligence. This one I've never seen, didn't even know it came out, didn't know it was Studio Ghibli. You would not know from the animation. It's like 3D animation style.
Okay.
It's called Earwig and the Witch.
Rings a bell.
It
I think I
has-
remember when that came out. Was that like 2018?
2020.
Okay, yeah.
It has a whopping 27% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not good.
Was it Studio Ghibli, but Miyazaki had like nothing to do with it type of thing?
I don't think Miyazaki had a thing to do with it.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then this one, which I do like, I'm shocked it has such a low score. Tales from Earthsea,
Okay, I haven't seen that.
early 2000s. Rotten Tomatoes scored it really low, and I think it's because the source material, never read it, don't know it, is very different than the actual film, and people were upset about that. The film itself, I think, is quite beautiful. It's beautiful animation, cool kind of character design. The bad guys are like, kind of scary, creepy. I enjoyed it for what it was. Again, maybe I should rewatch it. Maybe I'm talking out my ass, but
I mean, if it has such a low rating, I'm curious why.
yeah, people just were upset with it.
To lean on the negative side, and then I kind of want to end on a more positive.
Yeah, I want to throw in more positives.
For me, if on most lists for movies, this would be like a solid B. But because we're being extra harsh, I'm going to put this as a high C. And it's the same reasons why Castle in the Sky is so high for me. This is so low for me is because the nostalgia is Ponyo.
Oh,
Because
the animation?
no, and it's whimsical, it's nice. It's just I was really kind of into my Studio Ghibli phase and discovering all these great movies. I was in high school and this came out. I'm like, this is the next one. And I was expecting kind of like a Princess Mononoke action epic or an adventure like
Goes
Castle in the Sky.
the other way.
And it was, maybe more
cutesy.
Kiki's Delivery Service,
Yeah.
which at that age, at that time, I wanted something a little more ambitious. And for me, it fell flat because of that.
You were growing with Ghibli, and then they sort of went for like a younger.
And maybe not even, but like a brighter, more, and it just wasn't what, and that's another one deserves a rewatch. I might get slaughtered. I know it's a masterpiece in its own right, but if I have to be critical of one of these that I've seen,
Yeah.
it's Ponyo.
I'd like to put in the world of Arrietty. I got to throw that
Okay.
in. I'm going to put it up in like an A or a B. Again, to me, it's very similar to Princess Mononoke in a way, just because The Secret World of Arrietty is like what the heck were those? The Borrowers, those books that were popular when we were kids.
yeah.
It's like Thumbelina. It's like those
Yeah.
the same sort of premise. It's done really, really
Gilligan's
well.
Travels.
Yes. It's a
Gulliver's
beautiful
Travels? What the fuck is
Gulliver.
his name? Gulliver.
Gulliver's
there we go.
Travels.
Yeah, I'm a little gullible.
It's a beautiful movie, and I would be upset if I didn't put it in like an A.
I'm
So I'm
glad you
putting
gave.
it
That's
in.
not a very well known and I haven't seen it, so I'm glad.
Really good.
You know more than I do. I'm kind of just hitting the classics that I've seen.
Before we wrap up this list,
Yeah, I have one more.
where are you gonna put it?
My Neighbor Totoro. You're
Yeah,
talking
where are
about?
you gonna put it?
Very solid A.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I know I don't have many B's, but it's to me there's kind of that because everything that that we put in A or S are just
Yeah. Totoro is
Undeniable.
hard. Totoro is hard. You think it is a kids movie. You think it is like for children
Yeah.
because Totoro is so cute and like
Yeah.
so many plushies exist. That movie is
it'll hit you in the balls.
bizarro weird. It like
Tragic and like
tragic
yeah.
and like a little bit scary. The cat bus and the whole traveling around, like it's kind of creepy. The kids cry during a lot of the movie. Like the
Yeah.
kids in the movie are not thrilled to be there. The parents, like it's rough. So that's usually I don't lead with that one because I don't know if it's a great representation of the studio as a whole.
Yeah.
But it has to be an A, bordering on S, just for how amazing it is.
Yeah, to me, my top 5, just to list it off: Castle in the Sky 1, 2, Kiki's Delivery Service, Princess Mononoke 3, number 4, Spirited Away, number 5, My Neighbor Totoro.
Yeah.
Number 6, Howl's Moving Castle. That's like just to
See,
list it out.
you bumped it down, and then
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
There are many more movies, but we got to wrap this up. This has been such a lovely episode. So many good topics today. I'm thrilled. But stick around; it's not over yet.
yeah, because we have Who do we have coming up?
We got Samurai.
I don't want to say it.
Maybe he's gonna make a prediction that comes true for once. Stick around and find out. Samurai, how are you?
I'm doing really good. I'm coming in hot today. I got a prediction. I mean, you guys are gonna, the snot is gonna fall out of your nose.
I hope not, but go on.
Prediction today. Little Big Planet, Doom, crossover event, Little Doomed Planet.
Say more.
Go on.
In Little Doom Planet, Sackboy will assume the role of a space marine, and he will have to fight hordes of undead monsters and zombies and aliens that'll all be at about his height, because some of them are too small for Doom Guy to fight. So they gotta team up, and Sackboy's gotta fight the little ones, and Doom Guys will fight the big ones. At the end of the level, they'll jump and they'll high five in midair.
Okay.
Marcus, you're a lover of Doom.
I'm a big Doom guy.
And I like
Doom boy.
I like Little Big Planet.
Okay.
Do you think there's a world where we can come together and agree?
I don't really see it because, again, well, you're kind of describing the plot of Doom 2, Hell on Earth, as well as Doom, the more recent Doom Eternal, because that does involve an Earth invasion. However, Doom Guy...
We're in space, right?
We're in space.
We're in space.
Okay, so this is a separate planet. It's not Phobos. It's not Deimos. It's not Mars.
It's the planet of Little Big Planet.
Okay. So, and Doom Guy is too... Well, that's the thing about Doom Guy, though.
Doom Guy's too big.
But he's so badass. I mean, he can eat these little demons for breakfast. I mean, this is fucking Doom Guy.
Well, that's why he can't be bothered with them. He has to worry about the big ones, and so he's giving his underling a smaller scale assignment.
It just seems like a smaller scale of stakes, of intrigue, of common sense, and a few other things as well that I just don't feel like these two universes collide.
I would like the gameplay if like you're Sackboy and you like the level loads up, you're like waiting to go, you're there, and then Doom Guy is just like, all right, see you later. And he just pieces out to go fight a big guy in the distance. Like you kind of see him in the background for most of the game, and he has nothing to do with you, and he doesn't help you.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm imagining for this game. Since Sackboy's got to fight like one monster, and he's all clumsy.
Yeah, the camera's up here. Doom Guy runs away, and then the camera like comes down, and it's just Sackboy. And
in a little marine outfit.
Yeah, in a little marine outfit, and he has
like a little blaster. That's
like a tiny wooden sword.
Yes.
And then you have to go fight all the demons. So I would argue, Marcus, that the stakes are still high. Because
for him,
you're Sackboy.
Have you no empathy, Marcus? Can't you not put yourself in the shoes of the tiny sack?
My problem is that Doom Guy knows how to do two things and two things well, and that's rip and tear. And Sackboy, if there's any ripping or tearing of a sack...
But they don't fight.
Let me tell you from some personal experience, you don't want any ripping or tearing of any sacks.
Yeah.
It's a disaster.
Yeah.
And the thought to relive that existence within a video game is just...
Are you okay?
You need to talk. Do you want to talk about it?
Do you want to go to the doctor? Do you have to go to a doctor?
I don't like this prediction very much, Samurai.
What are you giving it on the Simpsons scale then?
A season 23.
Season 23?
Yeah.
Marcus, be nice.
No, I take it back. Season 32.
Oh,
Marcus!
Oh!
Yeah.
Would it help you if I proposed the branding? You know how the motto of Little Big Planet is play, create, share. This game, the motto will be murder, slaughter, annihilate.
That's like Doom has so much customizability with Doom mods. Like that's the thing. It's like the custom. You don't need the big plan. It's a Lady Gaga crossover episode, Simpsons. I'm going even lower. I'm offended.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You're going to a dark place, Mark.
I know.
All right.
We're concerned about you.
I'll be. I guess I'll just do like a eat my shorts.
What does that even mean? We've been asking since 1991.
We still don't know. Samurai, we'll see you next time. We'll be okay. Marcus, do you want to do the sign-off?
Thank you for watching Next Level Play. We will be back again with more bold predictions, more analysis of what we see in the industry, more hot takes on pulp culture.
From this guy.
And maybe, if we have to, the return of Samurai once more.
Peace, y'all!